Hello, people. I'd like to thank you for showing up, and I'm going to wait a little bit before I really get into let some more people show up here. But I want to talk about a couple things. One, I want to talk about Anthony Raimondi. He went on a show recently, yesterday, and he talked a bunch of BS, called me out and everything. But on this show, his video that he's been on has a little bit over 600 views. You know, the easiest thing for me to do is to come on here and blast Anthony Raimondi, but it's already been proven that he's a fraud. It's already been proven that his military record doesn't exist. The odds of him being in the military is probably zero. And if he was in the military, he was a Marine. And probably had a general discharge, which means he couldn't hack it. So I'm not going to give that show, or I'm not going to give Anthony Raimondi anything else. That's it. He's proven to be a fake. I mean, if you want to use him now for 600 views, go right ahead. I mean, it's obvious that he's worn out. People are on to him. They know that he's a fake and he's not worth anybody's time. So you called me out the other day, Anthony. It's useless. There's no reason to even talk about you anymore. So that I'm going to keep this talk short about you, and that's it. So when you could show up with some actual facts, you said that you were going to show up and prove that you were in the Marines on the show. You did not do that. Okay, so you basically still full of shit, and the host of that show continues to bring you on. He's disrespecting the military, so he's not worth my time either. So you guys enjoy one another, because that's it. Nobody else is going to have you, just that person. Okay, I want to move on from there. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody, because the channel here is growing, slow but steady, and it's going forward. And a lot of that has to do with the people that actually come here and they want to be here. I'm in a couple minutes. I'm going to bring Gray Thin Line in. He's in the chat room right now. But I just want to discuss a few things before I do that. Another thing. When we do these shows, and we have to have the balls to go after people sometimes, even though they're popular, especially people like Sammy Gravano. Sammy Gravano is very popular. He's a great storyteller. But if anybody with half a brain wants to prove that Sammy's lying, all you got to do is go back and look at his previous interviews and the things he said. And now, you know, he's on a show with 3 police officers. I find that ironic, you know, and they are talking to him like he is something special. He's not. Sammy Gravano is what he is. And whether you like John Gotti, or if you think that, you know, maybe he hurt the mafia by being out there, okay, you could feel that way. But here's the thing about John Gotti. John Gotti went to prison, never ratted, and took it like a man. And here you got Sammy talking like a big badass because John Gotti is dead and cannot defend himself. And people do not call him on his lies. And I'm going to show you exactly what his lies are. So when people say stuff, you know, if you want to find out if the man's a liar or if he's just making shit up, just go look at his previous interviews. And let's remember, this man is no hero. This is a man that got out of out of prison. And then after 4 years, he wound up in Arizona. And then he started dealing drugs with a white supremacist group. This is why I laugh when he goes on these shows and talks about all this stuff that he's done for the black community and stuff. Once again, those people aren't researching Sammy. So Sammy got involved, and the reason is when his children had the when they were dealing the drugs, they actually had they were drug dealers that was losing money. So that tells you something about that. So Sammy came in and said, "Okay, I'll help you." And basically, what he did is he helped them make money because Sammy knows how to do that stuff, and he turned it into a very profitable business. He took the business over. Once again, he says that he did it to protect his children. That's not true. He did it because he was a criminal, and he was a drug dealer. That's what he was. He was a lowly drug dealer. And then, so what he did is he took the business over, and the business became profitable, and it was with a white supremacist group and his family. That's what it was with. It wasn't with anybody else. And then when the time came, his family wound up getting charges and stuff. But if you want to know what type of man a person is, they would bring in, what kind of man would bring his children into a drug? It would even have anything to do with that. Why didn't he say to his children, look, you shouldn't be doing this. It's dealing drugs. But they didn't. So he got involved with all of it. And then on top of that, when the time came to happen and he got arrested, people have to remember that the Arizona state police that were investigating him were so scared of going to the federal government because they knew the federal government would be embarrassed and would try to help Sammy get out of it. And because they were embarrassing him. So what happened is the Arizona state police didn't bring the federal government in until the very end because they didn't want them to give Sammy a free ride. And that's what happened there. Okay. Now Sammy is going after John Gotti lately. And Sammy seems to think that being a rat who sent 30 people to prison that were his friends. Okay, maybe John Gotti wasn't his friend, but he says that he did it because of Gotti. No, he sent all these people to prison, not just, and this is the most famous thing about these rats. They talk about, well, this person was coming at me and I had a rat on him because I was afraid of him. He was killing me. But they don't talk about all their friends they send to prison. So, and here's another thing. Now we have rat conventions. The other day we had 3 police officers taking these rats underneath their wings. These police officers should be ashamed of themselves. These are people that they used to be on the streets with. And these aren't the gangsters on the streets. These are the rats. It's not like they have gangsters or real made men and they're doing interviews with them. They're bringing the lowest of the lowest in. So these cops that have them on, are they any better to even give these guys a platform? I mean, we have a responsibility of questioning these people correctly. They were actually talking to Sammy and talking to him like he was some kind of hero. If you remember something Sammy said that during the Castellano hit, that he would have shot a cop if a cop was involved or got involved and went across the street and tried to stop the hit. He said that he was ready to execute a cop. And despite the fact that he said that, these cops have this slime ball on there. And then Sammy went and he talked about Alan Kaiser. When he originally talked about Alan Kaiser, he told the feds that he killed him. And then over a period of time, that changed. Then he blamed it on Louis Melito, and then he just took it totally off him. And then he lied and said Alan Kaiser was running at the gun. Autopsy report proved that he was lying. Okay, so this is what Sammy does. Now that people are dying and they can't defend themselves, and this is what he's doing to John Gotti. So I'm going to just play you something. I'm going to play you 2 things to prove, this is the absolute proof that Sammy's lying. And all it takes is a little bit of research That's all people have to do is research a little bit. But for some reason, people don't like to research. They just like to give this guy benefit of doubt. Okay, 1 second, please. Okay, so Sammy said that when he was, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not the greatest at this, people, so just bear with me, but we'll do a good job here. Okay, we're going to take this off the screen. Okay, so this is I'm going to play when Sammy Gravano did his very first interview when he came out, and it was with Diane Sawyer. Okay, and here's why Sammy. So on the show with the police, Sammy said that the reason that he turned on John Gotti is because, and this is his most recent interview, he said because John Gotti asked him to take the fall. So he said that he got pissed at John Gotti, and so he decided that he was going to rat on John Gotti, and it's not the truth. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Okay, maybe I'll get it straight.
Gravano made the decision that would bring down John Gotti in a different way.
When did you decide to cooperate? What was the moment?
I decided that enough was enough. I made a list of people that we would have to kill so that there would be no retaliation. And the list consisted of his brother Jeannie, who I really like, his brother Pete. The thought of killing his son sickened me, to tell you the truth.
So you figured there how many people you had?
About 10, 12, 14 people more. I looked at the list. I guess I looked at myself and I did some soul searching. I ripped the list up. I threw it down the bowl. And I made arrangements to call and get in touch with the FBI.
We were very suspicious initially.
George Gabriel, one of the FBI agents who had arrested John Gotti, was there when Gravano agreed to turn, promising to tell everything about his 23 years in the mob.
We were actually looking for what the trap was here. Somebody was lulling us into, this was a John Gotti trick to deter us from the work we were doing to firm up our case and give us a sidetrack and a sideline. We didn't expect it. We didn't believe it initially until we started dealing with him and found out he was on the level.
This is the deal Gravano and the government worked out. Instead of life in prison, Gravano would get a maximum of 20 years in exchange for complete cooperation. Then,
okay, so basically what's going on there is Sammy Gravano basically said in that interview that the reason that he became a rat was because he decided it was the right thing to do because he didn't want to kill people like John Gotti's family and stuff to get out of it. That is the excuse that he used. He never said that John Gotti asked him to take a fall. So this is his very first one. And this is what Sammy does. He changes his stories over time. And this is what he's famous for. And he continuously does it. So Sammy is a liar. It had nothing to do with John Gotti asking him to take the fall. And all you got to do is go back to that Diane Sawyer interview and watch it. Not one time do you hear Sammy in that interview saying that John Gotti told him that he had to take the fall. Not one time. And if people don't want to believe that, they just don't want to believe it. But that's the truth. You know, and here's the sad part about that whole interview with those cops. And this is what really got me. And people may not want to hear this. Jimmy Calandra might not want to hear this. People want to keep things to themselves and not even talk about what's going on. But during that interview, right after he came on and said that he ratted on John Gotti because John Gotti told him to, that he was going to take the fall. 1 minute later, Jimmy Calandra shows up. So Jimmy has to decide what side's he on. You know, everybody accepts Jimmy, but yet here he goes. He comes into this show, and you got people in the chat room saying, Jimmy sent us here. So Jimmy sent people from his show to go to this show to hear Sammy lie about John Gotti. Am I missing something here? I mean, does this make sense? You know, these rats, they have no loyalty. Jimmy Calandra's not loyal to John Gotti. Because if he was, he wouldn't have done that. But no one's talking about it. Why isn't anybody talking about that? You know, you got to decide who you are and what you are in this. And if it pisses people off that I'm saying this, you know how many people came to me and said to me, can you believe that Jimmy Calandra showed up on that show with along with Sammy Gravano? And Sammy Gravano was bad-mouthing John Gotti Senior. 1 minute after he bad-mouthed John Gotti Senior, there's Jimmy Calandra. It's amazing. People want to pretend that this stuff ain't going on. You know, you got to remember, John Gotti died in prison because he never ratted. And Sammy Gravano did. Sammy Gravano lies about so much stuff and he gets a pass. Then people say, oh, he's cute. He tells good stories. Tell that to the people that he put in prison. All those people that are still in prison. You know. So, you know, people are going to say to me, Lee, why did you go after Jimmy Calandra? Because Jimmy Calandra showed up on a show where Sammy Gravano was bashing the hell out of John Gotti. That's why. And now tomorrow, Jimmy Calandra is going to be on that show with those three cops. Three cops that like to bring on, not gangsters, rats. So that's just my opinion about that. I'm going to drop my, I don't know if you're still here, Grayline, but I'm going to drop the link to get in here. If anybody else wants to jump up here, you're more than welcome. But, you know, I may have said something that people don't like. But that's what we have these shows for. We got to stop fighting with each other, and we got to put up good quality shows. You know, this is the mafia genre. And so I just said what I feel about Sammy Gravano. I said that from the very beginning. And in the beginning, it cost me subs and stuff. And same with Jimmy Calandra, that cost me subs and stuff. Now, those people, they're not my fans. They know how I feel about these two. And, you know, Jimmy will do a video tomorrow where he looks like he just woke up standing on the porch saying, Lee Cole, take a shower, wash your ass, go fuck yourself. But the fact of the matter is, why can't Jimmy, tell us why that you decided to go on a show where they were bashing the shit out of John Gotti. It's amazing. And people need to talk about this. Okay. I know, Angel, because you're a good person, but 3 adult men going after a mentally ill 20-year-old was a bad look yesterday. I don't think that Sonny Money is as dumb as you think he is. I mean, he decided to go on that show. You got to give him that. It's called Mob 2, Gunsmoke. Now, Gunsmoke, why don't you make a video, Gunsmoke, about the way the two of them showed up in that show when they were bashing John Gotti? Why is everybody afraid to touch this subject? Because those guys have big numbers and stuff, so they're going to get a pass on it? A couple rats showing up on a show with cops bashing John Gotti? Jimmy's going to come out and say, well, I didn't bash him. Yeah, but people in the audience were saying, Jimmy sent us, a lot of them. You sent them to that show, Jimmy, to bash John Gotti. Carlos Munoz is getting a hell of a reputation for blocking people, ain't he, people? So our links there, people. Anybody want to jump up? Gunsmoke, you could jump up too if you want. Talk about your show. Pretty Monita, Angel, you may want to start ignoring these people. You're going to make yourself sick, love. I know you're going to protect your family at all costs, and I respect that, but I don't want to get sick. You know, Pretty Monita, you make a good point because, you know, I've been talking lately with Bald Sicilian, and we're finding out there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are actually trying to get him and me to fight. You know, so there's a lot of stuff going on. This is you know, once you start discovering it, though, it's better. But lately, the abuse has turned away from me and going toward Bald Sicilian, and it's low life stuff. Attacking his wife is very low life. And then you have people, I'll give you an example. One of the pages that are attacking him came in here. And when they came in here, they said, hey, Lee, how you doing? It's like they're trying to set me up to make it look like I'm involved going after Bald Sicilian, which isn't true. Ishmael. Oh, he took off. Okay. Why is Sammy so jealous of Gotti? Why is Sammy? It's a great question. But, you know, he goes after John Gotti now because John Gotti's dead. But I like to say to the Gotti loyalists, why are you letting him do this? He should be put on full blast because the things he's saying are lies. They're absolute lies. Nobody deserves a pass for doing this. If I came up here, I did a show one time that talked about the Gotti son, and I got blasted for it, deservingly so. So why aren't people calling Sammy out for this or Jimmy? You know, think about that. Angela DeSap just saying, I'm sorry with the latest accusations of nonsense against your family. It is disgraceful. I'm 100% for you and your family, especially your father and brother. And, you know, that's the thing. You know, even if you don't like John Jr., or you think John Jr. talked to did a 302 or whatever. Okay, fine. But you can't say that about Senior. There's no evidence that John Senior ever did any type of ratting. The only evidence about John Senior is that he took his punishment like a man, and now the man that punished him is running around like the little scuzzbag he is, making up more stories. He's humiliating John Gotti now to the public that don't understand what happened back then. He's actually going out there because he knows that Sammy Gravano's people knows that time has changed. So a lot of people are believing Sammy Gravano when he says that he ratted because John Gotti was going to throw him under the bus. We know that's not true. We know that's not true because if it was true, Sammy would have said it during the interview back with Diane Sawyer back 20 years ago, whatever time it was. But he didn't. Okay, we'll read some more here and ask away. If you disagree with me, people, I'll put it up. I don't care. Lee goes after guys with much larger numbers. What do you hope to achieve? Why? Because they have much numbers, I shouldn't speak the truth? Because they got bigger numbers? It's called balls, Benny Blanco. You know something? You have Benny Blanco there from the Bronx. You remember Benny Blanco? He was the little guy, and he went after the big guy, and then the big guy took him, beat the daylights out of him. What happened in the end? Benny Blanco took the big guy out. Remember that? So you shouldn't have that name if you don't know what that means. It has nothing to do with my numbers. It has nothing to do with Jimmy's numbers. It has nothing to do with anybody's numbers. If you feel like you're right about something, you should stick up for it. I'd rather stick up for John Gotti than stick up for Sammy Gravano and kiss his ass and pretend he's some kind of great guy. Do you guys understand what Sammy Gravano's been doing behind the scenes here with this mafia genre stuff and who he's using and stuff and why he's doing it? It's so obvious. Anybody could pick it up. He's just, you have to remember, my issue with the whole issue that started with Jimmy Calandra was because of Sammy Gravano. That's why Jimmy turned on me a long time ago. He can use whatever excuse he was. But Jimmy called me up and said to me, don't do the show about Alan Kaiser. Stop talking about Sammy Gravano. That's what Jimmy said to me. And then you have these people that are for John Gotti and stuff, and then they don't call him on it. Why not? I'm here to do my shows. I don't need no friends. All I want to do is my show here and speak what I feel. If people hate me for it, let them hate me. But John Gotti would be turning over in his grave right now that this man is talking this horrible shit about him. Sonny Money plays the act. He's not dumb. Antonio, perfect. People are making Sonny Money a lot dumber than he is. I love FBS though. He has FBS has an awesome show. I just made a video with you, released it today. Oh, Gunsmoke, I'm nervous now, man. You made a video of me? Do I get my other finger shut off on my other hand? Or is it my head this time? But looking forward to seeing it, Gunsmoke, no matter how you made it. Because they're Jimmy Simps. And MRE says it best. MRE's the one that nicknamed them the Helmet Man. I mean, he did that a long time ago. You can say what you want about MRE, but he puts all rats at the same level. He doesn't back off. And if we're going to respect ourselves, we got to say what the truth is, especially when it comes to Sammy Gravano. And this is what you go. All the rats are getting out of jail now, and they're all going to YouTube, and they're all making money, and they're all talking about what great gangsters they were. And the only reason they're doing this is because they're government property, and people know not to touch them because they're government property. If you touch government property, you'll go to jail for the rest of your life. So they know they can walk around and get away with this. They're protected by the government. Every damn one of them. And you never get away from them. Once you testify, they own you forever. There's no such thing as leaving. Come on, guys. I'm putting my link up there. Come on. Does anybody have any balls to show up here? I would like to come on and give you some input, and you leave the link for me. I got the link right there, Sean. The link's right there. I just put it up. You're more than welcome to come in. Did you ever think that maybe these are trolls? I don't think Jimmy actually sent anybody. Dude, you're wrong. Now you're just looking to make excuses for him, dude. I'm sorry to say that, Gunsmoke. Just go back. Anybody go back and watch that show and read the chat boxes. You had 4 or 5 people. Jimmy sent me. Jimmy sent me. Jimmy sent me. And they were Jimmy people. But so this is the thing. People are afraid to say something because Jimmy has 17,000 viewers. Oh, and you know he's going to come after me after this video. But it's fine. I don't care. Too bad college football can't be playing more than NFL. College, yeah, it is. It's actually more entertaining, especially good games. Okay, let's see. Can I help you?
Hey, Lee, how are you?
Good. I'm seeing your hand right now.
Hey, I just wanted to say, nigga, 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 nigga.
So that person right there, you know why they do that? They're trying to get your station dropped. So, Krumo, get rid of that guy forever. See, this is the lowlives, people. These are the lowlives that come in here. These are the racist. These are the people that work with John Wolf. So they try to get these words out there, and that's what they do. If I can't see your face, you're not coming in. Carlos is a clown. Joey Electric because he's loyal to Jimmy. Dates had respect for John Gotti, Lee. Did he really? How could you say that Dates had respect for John Gotti when he's there talking to Sammy Gravano like he's some kind of god? I mean, Calandra, what kind of respect does he really have? Hey, what's up, my man?
How are you?
Hey, yeah, I just had some jerk jump in here and use the N word about 4 times.
I remember the 90s when chat rooms and all that stuff. It's 2021. It's unbelievable now how things are, and we're blessed to even be able to come on and be sociable, and they're in the real world, people aren't making friends these days. People don't care about people, and it's funny how on the internet people spend all these energies and stuff, and they don't really have good intentions. That was an uncalled for somebody to do that and say stuff like that.
Well, the plot behind that is YouTube doesn't allow racist stuff, and they figure if they come on and they can do it enough, then YouTube can shut you down.
Censorship, right?
Yeah, and that's what they do. My little old station bothers these people. People don't want to hear the truth, and that's just the way it's going to be. And so, Sean, what do you think about what I've been talking about? Honestly,
my honest opinion, I could put myself in those shoes of people being tough guys and living a lifestyle and running with the devil, and surviving and making a living, off of pretty treacherous stuff. I think when it comes to Sammy, I don't think he needs to talk about a dead man.
right?
My father passed away in 2005. He was 47 years old. He had a tough life. Was incarcerated most of his life. He did some really bad shit when he was incarcerated just to survive. And, I love my father, and I think about him every day, and I couldn't imagine if somebody said some bad things about him. But I think it's wrong. And to Lee, what we have to remember is that, like you said, these people are coming out of prison. They don't have a pot to piss in. They ain't got no money. And they're using social media as a way to survive, a way of income. Like yourself, you don't need this. It's a little lunch money for you. This is more like a hobby. This is something you enjoy. But, things are going to get out of hand because people, like I said, this is their livelihood, and they're basically saying and they have open reins to set the narrative about themselves, and I think it's right for people to fact check people and just call a spade a spade.
Yeah. And and with Sammy though, the thing that bothers me about Sammy doesn't have to lie, because one, he's a very good storyteller. He has a show that's very interesting. But to bash John Gotti like this, and that's why I showed the Diane Sawyer interview, because he never even came up with that story years ago. Now he is, and people just accept it instead of saying, "Hey, Sammy, 25 years ago you didn't say this, and now you're saying it. Why?"
Right. And I have to ask myself, he likes the views, he likes the money that's coming in, he likes the following, and it's really weird that he's talking to law enforcement and they have a podcast. It's like there's no holds barred now. Anybody can do what they want. Lawlessness, I'm in California, there's no bail, so you don't even have to have money to post bail. They just let you out.
Yeah.
And it's a accountability issue. No one's being held accountable for things, but I believe in a higher power, and I believe in this life or the next life you're going to be held accountable. And when the fire gets hot in the kitchen, and you fall on your face or go out the kitchen, that's your choice. Sammy could have handled things different. He could have not told, he could have held his mug, but he made his decision. And one thing I have to agree with him, it's kind of ironic when he says that, once he's in the mafia, always in the mafia. I believe that he says that because I believe in his heart he's going to be held accountable in this life or the next. And, I pray for the man. God bless him. And I pray for everybody. Jimmy Calandra, John A. Light. I pray for everybody, because, at the end of the day, they're going to be held accountable for their actions. And I do believe a heaven and a hell. And we're just spectators, but I know in my life, I work every day. I'm a hard worker. I live in a beautiful place, and I'm happy to have food in my stomach, and I'm just living day by day to survive, Lee.
And I have no problem with these rats coming on and having shows. But when they're trying to pretend that they're still what they used to be,
right?
That's what makes it, really difficult. So I appreciate you coming on. I'll bring the next gentleman on.
Lee, I have one more thing.
Yes.
You heard of the Sonny Black Napolitano story, right?
Of course, yes.
I put myself in his shoes. What balls on this man to go to a situation? It's like stepping on a hand grenade, knowing you're going to get killed. What balls on his and
he's not the only one that ever did it. I mean, there were a few guys that did that. I mean,
yeah. And in my mind, they're probably thinking, I hope it's going to be quick. I hope it's just going to be a flash and it's over. And God bless those guys too, because they had a lot of balls.
Well, thank you, Sean. If you want to hang here, you can. But Mustache Pete, I haven't met you before, but I appreciate you coming on.
What's going on, Lee? How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good. First of all, I just want to say your show was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan. I'd also just like to say, everybody has to remember that when it comes to these guys, whether they were ex-gangsters or informants, they're all just doing whatever they got to do to make money, and they go with whatever in the time. So if they think it's cool to go against Gotti, they're going to go against Gotti. It's all just to make money. I think that's what I think. I think Sammy would team up with Sesame Street if he can make money that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but with Sammy though, he's making plenty of money. It's unnecessary for him to say what he's saying about John Gotti, and this is the problem. Like I said, Sammy's very entertaining. He's worth watching. He doesn't need to do him attacking John Gotti's not making him any more money. It's just what he's doing is he's telling lies.
No, but he got a fan base. He's got a fan base for that, and to me, these guys will do whatever they can can. So whether it's a negative thing or a positive thing, it's not against Sammy to do something that isn't really a great thing to do to make money. He'll do what he's got to do. You know.
And you know what? I got a little
That's what I
tiny
think.
show here. I got a little tiny show here, and the only person I'm going to piss off is Calandra. Sammy's not going to care what I have to say. But you know, the good thing about having a show, you can do it. You can say what you want to say, and that's it. You know, and you know,
I give you credit, man.
I like Gravano's show, but I hate the fact that he's lying about Alan Kaiser, a 16-year-old boy. He lied his ass off, and no one called him out on that. And well, some people call him out, not too many. And then hardly nobody called him out on this thing with Gotti. And you had 3 cops there who should be ashamed of themselves. If you're going to have a show, call them out on it. They didn't even bother. They were laughing about it, saying that's why you killed John Gotti.
Tommy Dades is like in the Calandria camp. They're buddies. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and Calandra's buddies with Sammy.
Yep. Well, you know what? They should all say what they want. People are afraid because Tommy Dades is a hero cop. Tommy Dades is a hero cop with a lot of things in his past that people don't talk about. So, you know.
Well, if you look at him, he's been in so many documentaries. He's been, you know, all the documentaries about the mob, he's in it. So he's like a superstar mob guy too.
Yeah.
So listen, I just want to say I give you a lot of credit for, you know, doing what you do, and you FBS, all you guys calling people out. I think it's a great thing. So more power to you, buddy. I'm going to get going.
I love your name, by the way. Thank you for showing up.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good one.
Okay, Sean. Yeah, see, you know, that's the great thing. You know, some people are going to disagree with me, but, you know, just come on like him. Be respectable and disagree with me. You know,
I give you a lot of credit, Lee, for having a show because it takes a lot of energy, and you know, I really commend you on that. And just one day at a time, you know, and just don't give up the good fight. You know, life's hard just without social media.
And look, and right here, new beginnings for unemployed FBS. He says, "Are you and Fat Bolt Sicilian okay? Jesse Gotti, your ex-mod, is the one starting the problems." No, dude, you're starting the problems because you're putting up pages making fun of his wife. You're going too far. If you want to make fun of me, you want to make fun of him, that's understandable. But once you go to the wife thing, it's not understandable. And then when people are trying to connect me to your page, I would have nothing to do with your page, especially when you're going after women. And that's all I got to say to you, dude. You know, and that's the shame part. Your page was funny at one time, but now it's becoming too personal. You know, I remember that guy's page when it came out, it was funny. But now it's like going after a man's wife. I mean, it's wrong. You know, we're at a different level now.
Lee, do you get like bad emails and stuff besides YouTube all the time?
Yeah, it's amazing. I get, you know, like this guy that just got on, you know, you try to, and this is the thing when you do live shows, you never know what you're going to get. And
right.
That's why some people just drop videos, you know, and.
Now, what helps with just dropping a video? Basically, you're dropping a video, you're sending it out, and basically it's not live, so it does matter, right? It is different, or censored.
Yeah, it's different because you know what you're putting out before anything. You're not going to see any surprises. Okay, I'll give you an example. Benny Blanco. Lee ain't got enough material to do a show. He got to ask if anyone want to join him. No, I'm asking. So are you like mocking Sean for joining me, dude?
No, Lee, this is a big privilege because you weren't doing these things.
Right. Well, you know, exactly.
Yeah, and you're changing it because I guarantee you this. I guarantee you anybody with a big following, they wouldn't have the kahunas or the balls to do a live thing because they would be kind of hesitant to do that because not everybody's they're gonna ask tough questions, and I think, haters, like my old lady says, haters are always jealous. But for you to do this actually makes it more interesting because it gives us a voice. It gives us a face. We're not just some creeps that are in our basement texting away. I mean, I think we should all have a voice.
Angel says FBS does defend my dad. There's no doubt that FBS defends your dad.
Who's
And
Angel, Lee?
that's Angel Gotti.
Oh, is that legitimate?
Yes.
Her? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's Victoria's sister, correct?
Yes. And she has to put up with all these attacks on her father. You know,
so she gets attacked.
Oh my God. You have no idea. Viciously.
Mind-boggling.
She gets hit 10 times harder than I do.
And they're not just attacking her father, they're attacking
her. They're making up stories about her ex-husband. I mean, one story that her husband had a heart attack and died, and these people are coming forward saying that he died of a heroin overdose.
Wow.
You know, or they put stuff about her daughter on pages like they do with me. The big thing, here's what they're going to attack me with. They're going to call me a pedophile, because that's what they call everybody. They like to call people pedophiles. And we're talking about the John A-like people. And pedophiles, drug addicts. I mean, like anything. I've never done a drug in my life. And
that's besides the point. God will judge us, but who? Now I have a question. If people make comments, pedophile comments, stuff like that, aren't they going to be held accountable? You can't say that about people if it's not true.
Right. But it makes it like, I'll give you an example. Instagram lets people put up these pages, and then you got to fight with Instagram to take down these pages when they're calling people pedophiles. I mean, this is how bad these people are. They went after a guy like Damian Trites, who is a professional fighter, and they would never do it to his face, but they would do it behind his back and say all these horrible things. This is the kind of cowards they are. They're cowards. There's no other way to describe these people.
There's not a clause, Lee, where the platform has to fact check if somebody's saying those things, or they tell them don't say those things because you're attacking somebody's character at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, everything's politics too. You know, if they came out and said Joe Biden's a pedophile, then they'll get shut down. But if they came out and said Donald Trump's a pedophile, they're not going to get shut down. That's just we're in a bad world. We're in a world where nothing's equal no more. You know, everybody should be judged the same. You know, and unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah, and that's kind of disheartening. But you know, I pray for, you know, my dad, and I pray for John Gotti. He passed away a horrible death, and my father, he passed away a horrible death to hepatitis C, cirrhosis of the liver. You know, and he wilted away for about 2 weeks. I couldn't talk to him, but yeah, he died a horrible death. I don't wish that upon nobody.
I'm trying to have a conversation with this guy because this guy's been upsetting a lot of people. He says, I can like you, but be respectful, but I don't need to like FBS. Dude, you're right. You can go after FBS all you want, but leave his wife alone. That's just my opinion, dude. I think you're funny. Go after me all you want, but leave the wife alone.
Okay, FBS is the same mafia.
Fat Ball Sicilian.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Gunsmoke says, I would, but I just smoked some weed and I'm about to eat some Chinese food right now. Plus, I don't want to argue with you about Jimmy. Laugh out loud. All now, I'll team Jimmy. Jimmy respects John Gotti. If Jimmy respects John Gotti, why did he go on a show with a man that just bashed the hell out of John Gotti? Please tell me that. This makes no sense. Okay, if you guys fight, you're not focused on that. That's true. Lefty DNA, you're absolutely right. What they want is they want me and FBS to be fighting because we don't concentrate on what we're supposed to concentrate on. I'll give you an example. I was going to come on here last night and bash the hell out of Anthony Raimondi, but then I looked at the views that Stacks got on his show. It was like 700. It's not worth it. Anthony Raimondi has been dealt with. He has been proven to be a fraud. The military came out and said he's a fraud.
Lee, Anthony Raimondi, is that the guy that said that he slept with Marilyn Monroe?
No, this is the guy that said that he joined the military and killed 300 men and a bunch
the
of
hitman.
the hitman. Yes, and he's been proven a fraud. Last night he did a show. For the first half hour, he attacked me, and he basically wants me to talk about him. But if I talk about him,
Stolen valor.
And last week, a couple days ago, I had a guy come on the show from Guardians of the Green Beret, which is a stolen valor group, and he confirmed that he's fake, and he's still being bought on other platforms, even though these platforms should know better than to do so. But that's their show. If they want to do it, in the end, it's going to hurt them. So they can do whatever they want.
And those credible guys that were in the service, the guys that know what they're doing, they have access to databases, and that's accurate information.
Yep.
There's no getting by that.
Yep. Let's say all this telling of them would in the world we live in now, rats walk around, make videos, money off of being Judas. Must ask Pete, I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, they do. Maybe you should appreciate that. Well, and you know what I had to do over time too is the base of people that come to watch this show they're pretty loyal because a lot of people were angry at me and they left my show and it was back and forth. But so the people that have stayed here are loyal people. So I just got to watch out for the few people that come in here and are pretty bad. But I have one guy that takes care of my, he's my mod and he takes care of everything in there. He does the job of 10 people.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Smart man.
Yeah. And he's from another country. He's, and I've known him for a long time before I started this. And he was a mod for other shows. And he's just a really good guy. And he protects the show. And,
Lee, I have a question for you. Where do you think this genre is going to go in a couple of years? Do you think there'll be more content?
Oh my God. There's a bunch of rats getting ready to get out of jail. I say jail, but it's prison. They're getting ready to get out of prison. They're all going to come out because they see this is working. And, if you can have someone as boring as John Panisi, and John Panisi is extremely boring, and he's pretty successful in this industry now. And, he's doing fine. So he's making money. He's putting money in his pocket. Look at John A-Light. With all the stuff John A-Light's done, he puts down a video. He still gets 40,000 viewers watching his video.
It's mind-boggling.
It is. And, and John A-Light, he's done some things in the street, but his problem is he's added so much onto it, that it makes no sense. Just talk about the crap you did. And yes, you were friends with Junior for a couple years. That's it. Don't say you were friends with John Senior. John Senior doesn't deal with street level people. He never did that. John Senior had a group of men around him that he trusted with his life. And those were the only people. And this is how these men, they live without being killed on the street. If you don't have people around you could trust, you're going to be killed. You
got to have a team around you.
It's like when you think about Angelo Ruggiero. He did some tapes, and
he passed away of cancer. Is that correct?
Yes, but in all reality, any other friends would have taken him out for those tapes.
Well, John had his back
because they were friends growing up. It was like a loyalty thing.
Quack.
And maybe it was too loyal.
Yeah, I think so.
Because a lot of people, he would have went right away because of what he did. I mean, he was out of control. And they called him Quack Quack for a reason because he wouldn't shut up. And the reason, and because John Gotti was so loyal to him as a friend, he lived. And that's,
no doubt about it. John Gotti was a loyal man and he was a stand-up man and he took it all the way.
And then people would say, oh, well, John Gotti never murdered nobody. So he never murdered nobody. But he had people do it.
Hey, Lee, if you were going to do an act like that, you think you're going to tell anybody about it?
Exactly. Who knows what John Gotti did? Only John Gotti knows what he did.
Knows.
He was a real gangster. He kept his mouth shut. He's not like Sammy Gravano and talk about everything he did.
And Lee, I have another question. when people are when they turn state's evidence, is there a statute of limitations to their content that they were 302? Do they own that content? Or, I mean, if they talk about it on a social media platform, can they censor them or
No. Well, anytime you go after a government witness, you're taking a chance.
really?
Yeah, they call it the Freedom Act that you can get this stuff, but the reality is, the government's going to do what they want to do, and they're going to say what they want to say. I mean, look what they say. They'll put stuff out there. Look what they just did to Carmen Persico. They came out years later and said he was a snitch. Nobody believes that, But the government can say that about whoever they want, and they could turn you into a snitch.
Carmine Persico, he passed away in prison, right?
Yeah. The guy gets some heavy time, and they're
He
trying
did life, right? Life in prison.
So this guy, Tim Reed, this is hopefully Lee, JC, and Thin Gray Line saw the first Medal of Honor recorded, and don't disrespect service members anymore. I don't know what you want, dude. Tim, I'm here doing a show. I'm the one that brought on the Guardians of the Green Beret. The first interview given was on my show, so you're talking out your butt. John Jr. doesn't go on YouTube, Netflix, talking about his crimes or naming people. You're right, Mustache Bash. That's the truth. We don't hear from John Jr. John Jr. stays out of the fray. And whenever you do hear from John Jr., it's like a good project.
And he doesn't need the money from social media, no doubt. He don't need the
Can you imagine the money he would make if he decided to do his own YouTube show?
In the millions, Lee.
In the millions. He would
in the millions.
He would blow Gravano away because of
no doubt about it. And that's a good point that you do raise, because if he did do his own YouTube channel, I think he would surpass everybody, because his father did confide to him, and I think his father did tell him, what it was. And this is the streets. His father did school his son, and I think Junior has a lot of respect for his dad, and I think he doesn't do the show just for respect for his father, because he ain't got to say anything.
No, he's doing high quality stuff when he comes out. That's the difference. It's not
cable television, right?
Yeah, and they have and they're working on some movies right now, and some specials and stuff. Yeah, no, it's just a different level of you got a huge jealousy there too, from a lot of people, and this is the problem with John A. Light. John A. Light is very jealous, and he doesn't have to be,
Lee, I have a question for you. So after you did the interview with him and his brother, weren't you guys cordial, or how'd that fall off?
See, that's what everybody thought. I was friends with him. We were never friends.
No, not friends.
Yeah, no, not cordial. No, because I had a hard time dealing with him. When he talked to me, I felt like I wanted to stick a pencil in my eye. I'll be honest with you. He's the same way.
Before the interview or after?
Yes, before and after.
Wow. So he felt like he was doing you a favor by coming on your show, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Right.
A matter of fact, he bought 500 bots with him just so he would feel good about. So I woke up, I went to sleep one night. I woke up in the morning and I had 500 people, extra people come in. And I was like, wow, 500. He just got me 500 subs. And then right after the interview, the following day, those subs started falling off, all 500 of them. So basically, they were bots.
Oh, so they weren't real people.
They weren't. He just wanted to make himself look more popular than he was. And once again, he didn't have to do that because that video got 18,000 views. So, it got a lot of views. But, these people try to, Tim, there's no chance I'm bringing you on, dude. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Because you got about 10 different profiles and you're not trustworthy, dude. Nothing personal, you know what I mean?
And Lee, how do you feel? John A. brother. He seems very sincere. How do you feel about his brother?
You guys see the tapes. His
Right.
brothers, I'm sorry. His brothers unfortunately wants to be loved by his older brother and will do whatever his older brother tells him, even if it means attacking people and doing things that are very dirty. And,
Right.
and people have to understand, at one time he was against his brother, and then, and that's just a family thing. That's that's just a guy that doesn't get the attention his brother does. His brother went off to Europe. He didn't take his other brother with him. Why didn't he take Jimmy with him to Europe?
Yeah, John A. Light's living the life. God bless him. He's living the life, and I wish him, and I'm sure you do too, Lee, because you're a good person. I could tell. We could just wish him the best, and I really hope he's getting his point across to the kids.
Dude, when John A. Light gets back in this country, he's going to attack me viciously.
Why?
Remember I said that because of the information I released on his brother.
Oh,
Jimmy, the stuff that I got him on that we haven't talked about yet. There's no doubt that he's coming after me, and they're already using the word to describe me, pedophile. Those are the words that they use when they attack. They use pedophile pages. That's their big, that's why I have a hard time wishing him the best.
Right. No, I understand, Lee. I understand. Yeah. I have people that hate my guts, but I go to work every day and I just keep one foot in front of the other and I keep moving forward. It's so easy to go backwards, We got
Manuel Spaturo. God, that's one thing I get hell for is for hacking up the hell out of names. Gravano's testimony was fabricated testimony that prosecutors told him to say. There's no doubt, And people say, "Oh, well, he wanted like Gravano put John Gotti away." No, Gravano put some of his good friends away in prison. And then Gravano, during that special with the 3 cops, basically came out and said that he never killed any of his enemies. I mean, none of his partners. We all know that he did. For him to say that is like a joke.
Lee, I have another question for you. How much money would you estimate Sammy made in his heyday?
Millions.
Millions?
The guy was like running unions and stuff. He was
multiple companies. So back then it would be easy to take some cash and bury it.
Oh yeah, well he did when they let him keep a certain amount of cash when he got out the first time. It was when when he got out of the program the first time, he had millions of dollars waiting for him. He messed up because when he started that drug thing, they didn't let him come out the next time with money. They went after him hard. The state of Arizona went after him hard. People say, "Oh, Sammy Gravano this." Sammy Gravano dealt drugs with his family, with his daughter, who does that? What kind of human being deals drugs with their children?
You don't care at that point.
No, exactly. Doomday says, "My dad was traded in the Scranton mob. He met John Gotti a couple times in prison." And that's the thing, though. People remember meeting John Gotti. It's easy to meet Sammy Gravano. Here's another thing that gets me about Sammy. Sammy Gravano is doing all these things right now where he's talking about what a great civil rights activist he is. But he has a tattoo of Odin on him. And he also has, when he was doing that drug thing in Arizona, he did it with a white supremacist group. So why, and no one calls him on it. Like when he goes on these shows, and on these black shows, they don't say, "Hey, dude, how about the fact that you have a tattoo of Odin on you and you dealt drugs with white supremacists?"
Yeah.
And then you're here on this channel and you're trying to tell us that you are a civil rights activist. It's our society now. We don't have any real reporters no more. We don't have people call these people on anything.
Well, I know in California prison, it used to be very racial, very territorial, and there would be no breaking bread in an incarceration setting like that. There'd be no breaking bread like that. That's just the truth, Lee. I'm telling you the truth.
And another thing people have to understand, when Sammy Gravano was in jail, he was in the protective custody unit where he could walk around and stuff with rats. They had units for these people. You know, it's not like Sammy Gravano says that he was out in the public when he was in prison. He wasn't. He was in protective custody units. That's what he was in. You know, so he basically walked around with the rats.
And those scenarios, it's almost like a free fall. It's a free, like, no, there's no respect. It's just, let me get a honey bun and a shot of coffee.
Yeah, but that's like Gray Line said, that in prison these prisoners would rat anybody out for a honey bun. You know, Joey Electric says there's a guy who did time with Gravano and said he was beat up on a regular basis regularly by other inmates. Wouldn't surprise me because they knew what he was. I mean, Sammy Gravano put away a legend, and when Sammy Gravano is now become a legend by lying about his importance. Sammy Gravano is no longer a gangster. He is a rat. That's what he is. But he acts like he's still a gangster. He'll sit down and talk about, you know, how tough he was and make up these stories about prison and stuff. You know, the guy's a joke. He's just a joke, and people fall for it. And don't get me wrong, there's no doubt that Sammy was the real thing. But
Lee. Yeah, he was the real deal. He just made his decision and made a left off the 5 freeway and went another direction. No doubt in that. We'll never get back our days, you know, of 20 or you know, I'm 36 right now, so we just got to move forward. You know, the past is the past, and forward's forward. And
this is very important what Angel Gotti's saying here. I'll put up on my IG, and Karen Gravano trolls come after her, and they've been doing so many times, and then they get my post taken down.
Now, Karen was, let me get this correct. Karen was on Mob Wives, right?
Yeah, she was actually so embarrassing. Yes, and she is. And she from what I understand, she's a very smart woman.
Very smart.
Very educated. And I don't say nothing bad about her because it's family. I try not to get into the gangsters' families. You know, they can come after my family. You know, they say horrible things about my brother all the time. So, but that's just how people are sometimes.
Well, I want to say, you know, when it comes to Angel, she has every right to defend her father, and I wish her and her family the best, and everybody's family the best, Lee, you know, even yours.
Yep.
You know?
Tim Reed says, I feel Lee's moderators take down my posts when I point out their disrespect for dude, why are you still going on for this? This Tim Reed is like, he has like 10 different profiles, and he was known for stalking a woman. And he likes to call me kidnapper and stuff. But this guy is like, I let him on here and try to be fair to him, but he just likes to insult. Pretty Manita is right. It gets very stressful. It is not worth it to affect your life, family, and children. Same for you, Lee. Well, you know something? My children are all grown up now. I did a good job with my children. I have a great relationship with my children. So these trolls are never going to come between me and my children. Okay, let's see. Emmanuel, if you want to come on, you can. I'll drop you a link. Chad, what about the tapes that had Gotti bad-mouthing Sammy? I asked disrespectfully because it validates Gravano's claim that it truly happened. No one's saying it's not happened. It did happen. John Gotti did bad-mouth Sammy Gravano, but that's what all these gangsters did. They were always bad-mouthing each other. They're gangsters. You can't trust gangsters. That's what they are. Every one of them. But what does that have to do with what he did? You know, and he's making up stories about it. If Sammy just came out and said, I decided to rat because I was pissed off when I heard those tapes by John Gotti. Okay, just say that. Why do you got to say that you ratted because John Gotti was going to throw you under the bus. You know. Angel, would you and Victoria ever talk to Karen and Gerard? Please don't take that as disrespect. I just, that's a great question, Pretty Monita. And Angel will give you an answer. That's for damn sure. Lee, you need to let some of the loons jump in and have a good old verbal joust with them, a la MRE. They are fun intermissions. I have no problem with MRE jumping in. You know,
Lee, who's MRE?
Mob Rat's Exposed.
No,
You
that's
know,
the man that doesn't show his face, correct?
yes, and you know something. I used to mock him in the beginning when he didn't do that, but after dealing with these trolls, I kind of understood why he did that. You know, because they come after you pretty hard. I mean,
So
when
it's
I
just
do,
content
when I do this
without
show
a
today,
face.
they'll be coming after me hard. Guarantee it. That, you know, and they'll send Jimmy to do it. Sammy won't do it. Sammy will order Jimmy to do it.
Now, is that Jimmy verbally bashing you himself, or they have like a team behind them? How does that work?
Well, let me put it this way. 1 second, please. Okay, this is what. Okay, I'm just trying to find something here, and I can show you what I mean. Okay, this is what I mean.
Yo, Lee Cole, you fat piece of shit.
Guy Cole, he'll do anything for subscribers. You got Ted Bundy, he sits on his ass all day, he probably shits himself.
This interview yesterday with Fatso and Stacks.
That fat fuck destroyed all the interviews. I won't be giving no interviews to nobody ever again. That's done. He's the type of guy, he will put anyone on that show for him to get subs. He's nothing but a rat. He probably needs to go take a shower, go buy a bar of soap, and go clean your ass. You ugly fucking duckling, you.
That's what I do, Lee Cole. You fat piece of shit.
Hopefully God strikes you and you fucking disappear.
I'm not going to give certain people any life on YouTube. I don't want to mention their name.
Yo, Lee Cole, you fat piece of shit.
I made that. See, when you talk about how you're a man of God and you act that way, you're not a man of God.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, so and that's and there's many other times. Not one time have you ever heard me swear about him. Not one time.
No, not at all.
And he'll do it to me, and he'll and be after this video he'll do it again. But you know, if he wants to act like Sammy's butler, that's up to him. You know, and you know, grow your own backbone. And you know, he has my phone number. I told him to give me a call if he wants to talk to me, if he wants to threaten me and stuff, but he won't do that. And then Gene Barillo said a bunch of stuff about him, but he goes after me and not Gene Barillo. Why?
Does Gene Barillo have a show, Lee?
Well, no, he used to have one. And I'm sure when he comes back, he'll have another one. You know, and that's a lot of myth too. People saying I'm friends with Gene Barillo and everything. Because
is Gene incarcerated?
No, he's out. He wears a bracelet on his ankle, but he's owned by the government. You know, that's what it comes down to. You know, these guys all are owned by the government. And there's nothing that's going to change that. But, you know, Jimmy Calandra, you know, basically Gene Barillo says a lot of horrible things about him, but you'll never hear Jimmy say anything negative about Gene because Gene lives right down the street from him. So that's the difference.
So they're in these. They're still in the same. What would they be like? Neighborhoods? How did they call them out there in New York?
Neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods, but you know, boroughs or.
Yeah. They live in the same neighborhoods and close enough. Brooklyn's always a subway ride away. You know, and that's what happens. Okay, Miss Kant. again, thank you for being in the front line through this pandemic. You're a true hero. Yes, I thank anybody for being in the front line during this pandemic. Dude, who wants to see two 50-year-old fat men fighting in a cage? You know, Jimmy calls me fat, but he doesn't look in the mirror. Who would want to see that? I don't think anybody would want to see that. I'd last about 30 seconds. Then I'd probably have a heart attack.
You and me both.
Play it again. I love listening to him tear you apart. Give me a call. You think that he's that dumb, Lee? See, Frankie Calabria, he is what you call a Jimmy Calandra fan. Okay. But if you want me to play it again, send me your email, Frankie. I'll send it to you so you can sit at home and play it over and over again. Okay. Why is this guy acting like a dumb blonde with all the questions? Now, you're a dumb blonde, as he doesn't already know the answers.
Who, me?
Yeah, you're a dumb blonde now. But you see, this
I have
is what
black hair. I have black. What?
Exactly.
What? I'm a handsome man. Leave me alone. I'm a handsome man. Leave me alone. Come on, pump the brakes, people.
Once you put yourself out there, you're open territory for the trolls.
Lee, I'm ready to take the arrows. I don't care no more. I take them in life every day. And you know what? I'm a dumb blonde. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Lee versus Jimmy and a spelling bee. I'll take him out on that. Jimmy and a spelling bee. Come on. Is it more than 3 syllables? Okay. Gunsmoke to Dawn. No chance. Fat dudes can't fight. Nah, don't say that, Joey. Don't underestimate fat dudes. Tell Butterbean that he can't fight. He was a fat dude. Remember Butterbean, the boxer?
Tough guy.
Yeah, he used to knock out a lot of guys that were in shape.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, Lee. You know you're a ladies' man. Dude, I've been married several times. Believe it or not, I kind of was at one time, and I enjoy my life now. I was just saying this is the first time since I've been in my 20s that I'm not in a relationship. And it feels really good. Horatio Sands, you said you wanted to fight Jimmy in a couple of videos ago, Lee. If he showed up at my doorstep, I'd fight him. Because then, you know, I don't... The hell with the ring thing. You know, it's... Lee, played a video of Jimmy knocking out that guy with one punch in a coffee shop. Hey, no one... Do you have that video? You could play that video.
Fact or fiction? Fact or fiction?
No, that's true. Jimmy actually did knock somebody out with one punch.
Let's videotape so there's evidence.
Yeah. But the guy was, from what I understand, the guy was drunk and obnoxious. But the fact is, Jimmy really did knock somebody out with one punch. I wish you could tell. I wish I could tell. Hi, he was enough talent to forget this rat chit chat. Bro, you have to be able to pronounce Calabria. Come on, Lee. Ha ha. Well, you know something? I'm a wasp trying to pronounce Italian stuff. You know, I'm guilty. I can't take people serious. I can't pronounce people's names. Well, dude, that means you can't take a lot of people serious. You know, can you go here? Hey, Don Vito, let me ask you a question. Can you go to the Muslim world and pronounce their names? No, you probably couldn't. Very active show today. Oh, you know, you're good luck. We've been over 200 people watching the show live.
Really?
Since you've been in here.
Well, you know, Sean Patrick Sullivan, it doesn't get more luckier than that, man.
So you're a fellow Irishman.
Yeah, so my mom, she grew up in Brooklyn, all Jewish school. Father grew up in Dearborn, Michigan. His mother was from Massachusetts, Lucia Alfino. So my dad's Italian and Irish, and my mom's full-blood Jewish.
And it's kind of funny though. People say to me, "Oh, what do you know about Brooklyn and stuff?" My family came here over 100 years ago,
Right.
and they lived in Far Rockaway in
Right.
Brooklyn. And my family was in Brooklyn. My grandmother was in Brooklyn until the 1980s, and I lived in Brooklyn several times. So I know Brooklyn. I worked in Brooklyn. I worked at Scaturo's supermarket. It was an Italian supermarket in Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge. They had one in each area. So I'm very familiar with Brooklyn.
I was so they settled to Simi Valley, California. My father, rest in peace. He met my mom, Glendale, Burbank area. So I was born in Glendale Community Hospital in 1985. Grew up in Burbank, Glendale, and then moved to Hemet, California when I was 15. And then here I am now. I'm 36, and I have a lot to be thankful for. And my dad's proud of me. I've accomplished a lot. I'm a hard worker.
Okay, this one says, Angry Brown Man says, Gene Barillo would ragdoll Jimmy. There's no doubt in my mind that would happen. That's right, Lee. It's pronounced Calabria. Did I say it right? Lee, I have untold New English mob story for you. Hey, England has some great mob stories. Remember the Cray brothers. I mean, great movie, but they're known for having some really big gangs back in the day. There is a Scaturo still, I believe, isn't that Hillsdale? There's one Scaturo's left. When I worked for Scaturo's, they had 6 of them. And I worked for Scaturo's for 10 years. It was a great job. I was in the meat cutters union there. I worked in the butcher's department, and some of you don't have stores like that. I mean, it was all about
Lee, my phone's about to die. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and it makes me feel good. Maybe down the road, you could have me on again, and you can ask me some questions.
I would like that. A matter of fact, I'll invite you back soon to be on the show. I like to rapport.
Thank you very much, Lee, and that's all that matters is building a rapport. God bless you. Okay.
A couple Irishmen talking in the Italian genre. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay. You take care.
God bless you, Lee.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tommy Agro, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Later, buddy. I'm trying to turn it off.
I got you. Serious question, Lee. If you had to be in Sammy's shoes, life in jail, or a chance to walk, these guys are made to lie, cheat, and be part of the game, not made to be part of. You know what, Joe? You're right. I don't know what I would do. I might rat, but why lie about it? Why humiliate John Gotti when he's not alive? Just say you ratted. The problem with these guys, these rats, is they make up reasons why they ratted. Just say you ratted because you didn't want to go to jail. That's it. But Sammy's going to say, I ratted because John Gotti wanted to throw me under the bus. And he never said that. He just started saying this. In the last couple of years, he changed his story about why he ratted. That's the reality of it, Joe. I mean, you're right. Nobody knows what they will do if they were in front of the FBI and they were looking. Nobody knows what they would do. I could never say that I wouldn't do the same thing. I can't say it because I don't know. But you know what? I have been arrested. I have had opportunities to talk about people, but I never did it. But I wasn't looking at massive time. I was looking at just a little bit of a time. Lee the Butcher call. Jimmy, I'm a butcher, but there's 212 people right here right now. So I guess somebody likes the butcher. And look at that hairdo, dude. Okay. Of Cali, Brooklyn. Okay. New York. So my mother worked for Scaturo as a butcher. Well, then maybe I knew your mother because I worked in the meat department also. I was part of the meat cutters union for Scaturo's. The Crays would have annihilated Gravano and any of them in the fist fight. Oh, the Crays were insane. Anybody that didn't see that movie with Tom Hardy, that's one of those. The Crays is one of those movies that is like classic gangster movie. It should be right there with The Godfather and all those American gangster movies. The Craze was a wonderful movie. We're talking about Liverpool now. Curtis Warren was a big drug dealer in Liverpool. You know what? You're right. You know, England does not get enough credit for their gangsters. Lee, have me on. Horatio, do you want to come by and say hi right now? And then we could talk about it, you know? You're more than welcome. It was conspiracy, my case. Sammy taking the fall doesn't help anybody. %. I don't think so. Not 96%. There's some guys that are doing some heavy time in jail that didn't rat. Maybe 96% of today's society. You know, today's society is much different than, say, 20, 25, 30 years ago. Stephen, that's not true. You know, I just played when he was with Diane Sawyer. He never mentioned that. He never mentioned that was the reason. He gave a totally different reason. Liverpool is 200 miles from London. It's northwest. Well, Lee Murray would have destroyed either of the Craze. Well, you guys are talking about some serious gangsters here. Underrated. These are underrated gangsters that we don't know in American culture. Once Upon a Time in America, The Mean Streets, both great. Mean Streets was a movie that put Robert De Niro on the map. I mean, that's an original. Harvey Keitel was in that and stuff. And Once Upon a Time in America was phenomenal. That's with James Woods. And that movie was a long movie, but it was a great movie. Boy, you know what? Me that you mentioned Once Upon a Time in America, I think when I'm done here, I'm going to go find it and probably watch it. It's just a great movie. If you have not seen Once Upon a Time in America with James Woods and Robert De Niro, you really have to see it. Phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen Lawless with Tom, yes, Lawless is another great movie. That's like a hillbilly mafia gangster movie. What a phenomenal movie there too. Do you have a problem with MTR? I have no problem with Jeff Canarsie at all. If that's for me, Jeff Canarsie is one of the original guys in this from a long time ago, from 6-7 years ago, that's been fighting the good fight for a long time. I have no problem with him whatsoever. How does someone call in and chat? You can't call in, Tommy, but I could drop a link and you can come in through that link. And you can decide whether you want to show your face or not. You should look up the biggest criminal organization in the world. This dude loves to put these hard names up here just to embarrass me. But anyway, Don Vito, you're right. You're talking about Sicily or Calabria. You're talking about two areas of Italy where these groups came from, where everything really originated. There's no doubt about that. And I'm sure that you'd probably be a very fascinating person just to come on and talk about it. And if you ever wanted to, you're more than welcome. Army medic, no, unfortunately you can't. Well, wait, do you have what kind of phone do you have? Is it a regular phone, or if you have internet on your phone, of course you can come in. I definitely like to have you come in. I definitely like to talk to you about Anthony Raimondi. I heard Curtis Warren had cops and some dude from Gladiators on his payroll. Apparently, he was a multimillionaire. He was a multimillionaire drug dealer, and I'm sure that he had a lot of people on his payroll. Calabria Mafia makes Costa Nostra look like Sesame Street. They compare to the like of the Mexican cartel level organization, organized crime. Yes, and you know, people when they talk about gangs and stuff, they underestimate. You know, the Mexican cartel is right there with the greatest gangs ever. I mean, the Mexican cartel control the prisons in the United States, like in California and stuff. Good answer, Lee. Thanks for reply. Would be tough decision. As Sammy said, John got him on the tapes. That's why he turned. Hard life to live. Too many lies and dishonesty. And you know what? Sammy's lived an amazing life. You know, he was the real deal. There's no reason for him to lie about Alan Kaiser and John Gotti. I don't understand why he's lying about John Gotti and Alan Kaiser. He doesn't need to. The guy's the real deal. He's like, if you had to like put the top 10 gangsters of all time in a list, Sammy Gravano would probably be on that list. So he doesn't need to go after John Gotti. Terry Adams, David Hunt, the UK's top criminals since the 80s, totally different culture of criminality. I'm going to do a couple more people. And U.S. Army combat medic, I'll talk to you after the show, and we'll arrange something for you to come on because I wanted to do that anyway, and we can maybe discuss Anthony Raimondi. I've done some interviews with people from the military, and that was my plan with Anthony Raimondi. I've done interviews with people from the military talking about how disgraceful Anthony Raimondi is. Army medic is trying to get your attention. Yeah, I just talked to him. Well, that's what I love about them. You're talking about Once Upon a Time in America. It is a long movie, but it's a great movie. I like the girl that used to do stuff for the what do they call that? Italian pastry. Anyway, did you see Sammy the Bull movie when Nick Totoro played him? It was terrible. It sure was. The Long Good Friday is an all-time great gangster movie. Bob Hoskins. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, that's a great movie. People watch Cole seriously? Yeah, they do. You know, yeah, it's Timothy. Show's growing. It's only been growing, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, because you know why? What you see is what you get here. People come here and make fun of my T-shirts and stuff. So, Timothy, welcome aboard. Jeff Kennard says a picture of him with A-Light all over the internet. Listen, at one time, Jeff Canarsie knew John A-Light. And then when he discovered everything he needed about John A-Light, it ended. So, you know, there's nothing you can say about that. Everybody here has pictures with people that they probably wish they didn't take pictures with. Or everybody here has probably been friends with people they wish they weren't friends with. That's just how life is. The British government made an example out of the Krays. They banged them for life, and Ronnie Cray and the Mentalist. You know something? They really made an example out of them. They got what they did to them was like what they did with John Gotti here. They made total example. A matter of fact, they're still making. If your last name's Gotti and you go to prison, they're going to make an example out of you, and they're going to give you sentences that you do not deserve. That's funny. I'm watching Once Upon a Time right on Netflix. So it is on Netflix. At least I know where to find it. What do you say about car seat heaven picture? Oh, yeah, we already said that. We already read that, dude. Got brought up in the tough streets of Glasgow, Scotland. Shout out to everybody. And, you know, that's something that people don't realize. All over the world, all these cities have tough streets. You know, whether it's in Glasgow, London. Oh, London's got some real tough streets. And we just don't hear about them. You know, we in our head we're like, oh, we want to go to Scotland, and it's a beautiful land. But they don't realize in some cities though, you know, you got some really tough areas, and that's just the way it is around the world. People say people are sitting in jail, but also when you cooperate with the man, they tell you you have to do something. We just can't let you go through 5 years. You know, people to get a 5-year sentence. Rats. Yep. FBI agents doc on YouTube. Agent said Sammy was the weakest in the crew and the one they handpicked to turn. Wouldn't surprise me when you shoot your partners in the back of the head. The mob in Sicily are as powerful as the mob in Calabria, and they are still the biggest narco. Yeah, they are. There's still so much stuff happening out of Sicily, and they tried so hard. The government tried so hard there to bring down Sicily, those gangs. And a matter of fact, Benito Mussolini went after them. And what happened in the end? Benito Mussolini and his mistress got hung by their feet, and in the end, the mafia survived and the leaders did not. It seems like they always outlast the leaders there. Okay, I keep saying I'm going to leave here, but I see all these great. There's organized crime in every country. You kids are only dabbling in mob mythos. They are powerful families you just not heard of. Yeah, and it's still that way. I mean, look at Mexico. There's families we don't know about down there that we don't even think about in this country. I bought a ticket twice and lost both before I could watch it. Just looked Once Upon America up on Apple TV yesterday. Well, Boss Man, make sure you watch it. I like Analyze This. Oh, that's a funny movie. I mean, that's one of those comedy movies. If you want to watch My Blue Heaven, with Steve Martin, classics. Tom Sizemore's Guardy was hilarious and classic. That Sammy movie wasn't so bad. Well, Gunsmoke, I'm taking it that you're a Sammy fan. If you're a Jimmy fan, you got to be a Sammy fan. And I hope you're not going to do a video tomorrow of me Gunsmoke of me getting my other hand shot off by Jimmy because he's upset. But that's okay. I like him. How are you so much against rats? Well, obviously MTR wasn't always like that. Anyone that falls for him, Horatio Sands. Lee Murray was the largest cash heist in history. He had a 9-figure heist in the hundreds of millions and was a UFC fighter also at one time. That's very interesting. I'm going to check that out. Thank you for giving us that information. That's the great thing about these shows, people. You get great information. You should always you should always listen to it and go Google it, find out the information on these people because our world is full of crime. Okay. Oh, I like this one. Boxer Mom. Lee, you're so smart. Thank you. Okay. I'll pay you after the show. Too late, Lee. I already released a video like that today. Okay. But you know what you got to do, Gunsmoke? You got to release a video. You got to be honest. You got to release a video of Jimmy showing up with those 3 cops and Sammy and busting on John Gotti. How about that? Lee, what do you think of Tony Pizza hitting back at Angel Gotti for dissing him? Now, Tony Pizza, is that Tony Pizza, the pizza delivery man, or is that Tony Pizza, he owns a pizzeria? Who is this Tony Pizza? Where did he come from? He looks weathered. He says he's friends. He's friends with Sammy. Right there, he's discredited because Sammy has no friends. Sammy's friends all had bad things happen to them. Louis Melito, if you were a friend, you had something bad happen to you. So I like to say to Tony Pizza, how did you know him? And Tony Pizza, I'd like to do an interview with you. That's my offer to you, dude. I was going to say that. So if any of you guys know Tony Pizza, tell him to get a hold of me, and I'd like to interview him, and we could talk about That I don't think Tony Pizza has enough guts to come on here with me, but I'd like to do it. So Tony, if you have enough guts, get a hold of me. Let me know. Send me back a message. Give me your email through the message, and maybe I can interview you. You seem like you're getting a little leverage. Your videos you're getting, for a guy that just started, you're doing pretty good. So my challenge to Tony Pizza is to get a hold of me. We could do a show and we could talk about why you are kissing Sammy's ass so much, especially saying that you're one of his friends. You're one of his few friends that survived. But I could tell you about Kaiser incident if you want to hear it dropped in the link. No, I did a video on that, Yacht Rock. I studied it very thoroughly. Watch my video. I mean, I talked to people that were very close to that whole incident with Alan Kaiser. But I appreciate it. It's not like Sammy said. Sammy said the kid ran at him and they killed him. He's a liar. That's not what happened. Killed the kid because the kid witnessed him shooting at the other guy. So they executed the kid. Yeah, I got to run. Tummy ache from John Wolf. I wonder if he spells his work. Did you guys ever see when John Wolf came after me and he did a voodoo doll and then he started sticking needles in it, and doing chants of Lee Cole and sticking the needles in the belly just to come after me? Don Vito, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. You're just too smart for me. I'll be honest. You sound like a very intelligent man. I think that having a conversation with you would be really interesting. I don't even know if I can I don't even know if I can handle that conversation. Hey, Lee, I have a link for you proving Raimondi was never made. 100% legit proof, stolen valor, laughed my ass off. I need to email it to you. What's your email? I'm going to put my email down here right now. And people, if anybody doesn't like me, you're going to try to hack me, I got like a lot of protection on this email. Here you go, my man. Darren, I just put it up. It's all the way at the bottom there. Please send me whatever you want to send me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Gunsmoke to Don, you should do a video for Patney, the Boston Don. Yeah, I did a video on Jimmy Dean. I did a video on the Boston mob. I don't know if you watched it, but I did do one on the families up there, and you should check it out. I don't know if you did, but oh, that's who it is, Anthony Caruna. He's from the streets, and now Sammy is swooping him up. But why should she diss him though? And just get away because of her name. I don't understand where that woman came from. Yeah, that guy, I watched him last night, but he was kind of disrespectful to, anytime you use the C word toward a woman, it's very disrespectful, and you're no longer legitimate once you use that C word. And he put that in his title last night, and he used it toward Angel Gotti, and it was really classless. Tony Pizza Face. But that must be a rough looking pizza. He reminds me of a guy that can put him down. That would be awesome. Lee and Tony Pizza trashing it all out. Yeah, I'd love that. I'd have him on the show. I wouldn't even think twice about it. There's no doubt that Sammy was tough, Brooklyn guy. And Brooklyn guy, you're doing a good job. And one thing that I liked what you did with your show, you got rid of the dresser in the background. That was a great idea. I don't know who told you that, but I mentioned that to someone when I watched your show. I said, you need to get rid of the dresser in the background. And the next time I seen you, the dresser was gone. Good job. You keep it up, you're going to do well. I actually Brooklyn guy, I subscribe to your show, and people here, Brooklyn guy has his own show, and he talks about life and growing up in Brooklyn and stuff. Please go to his show and subscribe to it. Check it out. I mean, he has legitimate stories, and he's not talking BS. He's really worth joining. So I hope that helps you out, Brooklyn guy, and gets you some more followers. It's always good to get different views, Lee, like the guy OC Shorts does. Let Yacht say his PC. Okay, there's so many guys here. We got to get it. Dana White said that Lee Murray is the scariest guy he's ever met. Well, and Dana White's met all the scary guys. But Dana White's doing a lot of steroids. You guys notice how big he's gotten in the last year? You don't get big like that naturally. That guy's juicing up big time. As it happens, Lee, I'm from Glasgow, not Missouri. I'm not from Missouri, dude. I'm from New York. Okay, I grew up in New York. I lived in Missouri. Are you trying to say something? Are you like looking at my past or something, Grant Calder? Is that what you're trying to say? Look away, my man. See, that's what people do. They come in here and they say things to you. Oh, I'm sorry, CA. It's always good to hear different sides of the stories. Let Yacht on, Bossmans. Thank you for, I didn't realize that you gave me a chat. Thank you very much. He called Sicilian the C word, not angel. Antonio, he had the C word right in the same sentence alone. That's just not classy. And why is he using the C word for Sicilian? Why doesn't he go on a Sicilian show or something? How would he do on a Sicilian show? Would Sicilian rip him apart? But these Sammy Simps, that's what they are. They're funny. They say, oh, we're friends of Sammy. They don't realize that if you were back in the day and if you were out in the streets and if you were friends with Sammy, the odds were you weren't going to stay as friends for a long time. Louis Miletto was his best friend. Look what happened to him. It's always good to hear different sides to it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading it again. Okay. Lico, do you believe the story Sammy Gravano tells that John Gotti was with him in a Lincoln the night that? No, absolutely not. You know why I don't believe that story? Because that story's changed with him over the time. I think there's no doubt that he had a lot to do with the Paul Castellano hit because he was the underboss. Of course he would know. If he was there, sure, maybe he was there. But then he said he was driving the car. And Sammy said he was driving and that John Gotti was just sitting next to him, letting him do everything. John Gotti does not remind me of the type of man that would let anybody control a situation he was involved in. So, no, I don't believe Sammy's story there. People who are in the military don't really need proof that Ronaldo has stolen valor, just by the thing he has said. Exactly. The minute he said he had 300 kills, he's a liar. Right there. As it happens, Leon from okay, we just read that one. Folks, it's been deuces and adios, amigos. Have a great day. I'm about to say adios, too. I appreciate you guys being on this long. It's been a great show. We stayed at a good number, and I hope I gave you a little entertainment for a Saturday afternoon. I'm sure that Jimmy Calandra is not going to like my entertainment. But, hey, Lee, what do you think about Ric Flair controversy about sexual harassment? It was trending all over Twitter. Yeah, I believe it. You're talking about the airplane incident when he was on the plane. It was known around the wrestling world that Ric Flair was very well endowed, and he used to always like taking his pecker out. That was a big Ric Flair thing. And anybody that didn't watch that, he in the plane, he got naked. He walked down the aisle with a robe on, and all these wrestlers were harassing. They literally took over. It was a plane. They were fighting each other on the plane. It was a horrible night. And one of the stewardesses got cornered by Ric Flair, and he opened his robe and he's grabbing the woman's hand, trying to make the woman touch him. But Ric Flair was like that because Ric Flair was always bragging about the size of his penis. That's Ric Flair. I don't know, but that's it. Ric Flair is known for doing that, Don Vito. He's done a lot of weird shit. And one thing I do know about is the wrestling world. And this is where I probably got you a little bit, Don Vito. You know about the mafia world. I know about the wrestling world. Tommy Carbonero went to Arizona back in '99 yes, they did. And who went to jail for that? Peter Gotti, which was a shame. It's too bad they didn't get him. Bald Sicilian blocked Tony Pizza and dissed him on live because the guy disagreed with Angel. These guys are weak. I don't know about that. I don't know what his beef is. But I'm sure if he wanted to go on and debate Sicilian, that Sicilian would debate him. I don't see Sicilian turning down a debate. Lee verbally destroyed him, and he hasn't been the same. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about who I think you're talking about? Sammy was an underboss at the time. After the hit, Frankie was the underboss. Okay, thank you, boss man, for clearing that up. I appreciate it. Haley, other than you, the only reliable person is Hootie, who only talks about the life and not someone else's, like Jimmy Calandra, that bum. Well, I don't know what to say there, but thank you. Lee, can you call me Tony? Tony, laugh out loud, not saying I don't like my name, Antonio. It's just that it's my birth name. Okay, sure, Tony. You know what? I should know that, Tony. I apologize, Tony. It's not like we don't talk. Lexi, how you doing? Sonny Money doesn't have an Italian in him, but he might have a little Albanian in him from time to time. I think we know who that is. I'm going to tell you something, Lexi. If Sonny keeps acting the way he is and he winds up in jail, he's going to have a little bit of everything in him, if you know what I mean. I actually emailed you 2 different emails the other day, and Darren, one of the emails you sent me, you told me to check to see if you were blocked, and you weren't blocked. I did check, and you're on here now, so I'm guessing that you weren't blocked. But I will reply to your emails. You got to remember, I get a lot of emails, Darren. It's nothing personal. Even my son gets mad at me. He goes, "Dad, why don't you answer my emails?" And then I tell my son that I'm doing this mafia genre stuff. And he tells me, "Dad, you're crazy. Being over there, those people are crazy." And maybe I should listen to him, but maybe I'm crazy. What did you think of you got to take everything with a grain of salt with Sammy. All his stories have a lot of truth in them, but like any good storyteller, Sammy puts a lot of BS in them too. But the man's a great storyteller. Kane Shade, of course your Miami Hurricanes suck. They haven't been good since Shockey was in. Come on, this is nothing new, Kane Shade. And as everybody knows, Kane Shade is my former partner that told me that he would never take off on me, that he would always be at my side. But when the tough got tough, Kane Shade got running, right, Kane Shade? He has a great video on it. And if you guys know who Kane Shade Unk is, you can put his name in and you can subscribe to his station. Very, very good station. He's taken it in a different direction. But if you like sports and stuff like that, he does a little bit of everything. So I would say, please check out Kane Shade Unk's station. Channel. Check out his channel. Good guy. He's an honest guy. If he disagrees with me, he always told me. And, he's always been a good guy. Why does Sammy make it seem like everyone hated Gotti? Because everybody hated Sammy. That's why. Sammy was in the Cuomo family, and they were so happy to get rid of him because they knew he was killing his partners. Hey, Lee, Josie was, what happened to Josie? I've been looking. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. She came on and she was talking Josie attacked me every day with a video. I miss her. Josie, where are you? Please come back. They were fighting. Okay. Anyway, got to run, guys. Had a rough curry tonight. Take care, Maz. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to run too. People, it has been wonderful. Thank you all so much. You gave me 2 hours. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of grief from Jimmy on this, but what the hell? Just speaking what I want to speak and how I feel about this whole thing. And the whole thing with him showing up after Sammy bashed John Gotti. I just think it's BS. And you know what? Let's go out with this one. Lee Cole the turd. Okay. But one quick thing before I leave, people. Somebody was telling me that if you put Sammy Gravano's name and Jimmy Calandra's name in Google, my name pops up with them now. Because he said my name so many times attacking me, Jimmy, that he has literally put my name in there where I pop up with Sammy Gravano and Jimmy Calandra. So thank you, Jimmy. Okay, everybody, take care. It's been great. And I appreciate the show. And maybe I'll do a live tomorrow or not. I'm not sure. I've been on 2 hours today. Take care, people.